Final score at Celtic Park, Celtic B3, Livingston 0, and over the piece, Smith, a fairly enjoyable Saturday at Celtic Park. In the end, a lot of trepidation, a lot of kind of question marks pre-match about the lineup, but it all came good eventually. This is Tino with the final whistle show here, joined by Miff. Miff, your initial response to the win?
Hello, Tino. Hello, listeners and viewers. Well, I mean, I seen the team and had to be restrained if you try to get the driver to turn the bus back towards Motherwell, back to the tavern. To be fair, once the game started, I thought they looked a team that had been just sort of knitted together. But as the half went on in the first half, I thought they get better. Started to create clear-cut chances. Yang was the recipient of probably one of the best saves I've seen at Celtic Park. It was a sensational save for the keeper. Yeah, I know you'll argue that Yang should bury it, but Yang is arriving at base. All he can do is just get his forehead on it and hope that it flies in. And I think 99 times out of 100 it does. It's just it was one of those amazing saves for Aldridge. Second half, got the goal relatively early, and I thought Nygren was particularly poor in the first half. I thought he looked really kind of like a one-trick pony, but second half, poor as he was in the first half, I thought he was excellent in the second half, and he proved to be the spark.
Yeah, exactly that. So he gets man of the match eventually. He's the 2-goal hero on the day, and it'll do his confidence a world of good because he wasn't great on Wednesday, was he? And he'll take the boost from that. But tell you what, Miff, let's take it back to the very start of the day though. So obviously kind of massive changes to lineup. I think officially it was 8 changes, which is it's big for any team. You know, it's obviously going to have its say, as you know, it's going to have an impact on proceedings. Before we get into the individuals as such, is the manager right to freshen up in such a way before such a big game on Tuesday?
Well, I think it's twofold. It's a message to the board to say, you know, everybody would have felt that was a relatively weak team, for want of a better expression. But at the same time, there was necessity around squad management. Something that I think, as an overall theme, we have lacked as a club recently, but the manager's duty is to manage that squad with a big game in mind and to try and lessen or lighten the workload of certain players. And to that end, it's worked. 3 points, clean sheet. And I look at some players that ordinarily we probably wouldn't have got a look at.
That was where I was at. So I think he had to freshen up, right? So the big hitters step out. You've got Kalmak, CCV, Reo Hatate, Daisen Maeda, one or two others I might have missed. They step out, you know, they're rested, you know, Reo Hatate. They're rested for the big game on Tuesday night. But the exciting, is that the word to use? Probably. The exciting thing for me is getting a proper look at Dane Murray again. You know, a lot of hype about Dane Murray now signed his new deal. Let's have a proper look at Inamura in a competitive game. Let's see what Shin Yamada's got up top. Let's see if Luke McCowan can stake a claim, and so on and so forth. And actually the freshness for me gave you something to look forward to after what was a turgid night on Wednesday. And I think overall it was a fairly enjoyable day eventually.
Yeah, but listen, freshness was the word you used there. And I think that's right. In the absence of any significant new signings, then at the very least we can look at the guys we have signed and see what they're like as a collective and see what they have to offer the squad. Because the theory is that you need your squad players for games like we had today, where it's maybe a game massively in your favour. You know, Livingston are still kind of finding their way back in the Premier League. You're not expecting it to be an onslaught. So for the likes of Inamura and Murray, it's a game where you come in and you ask them to do what little they have to do defensively well, but contribute in an attacking sense. I think to hone in specifically on Murray, I thought he was excellent for 90% of the game, but he really tired at the end. I was behind the goal he was defending. He got beat for a header at a corner, and then he got caught in possession of Yengi. He was blown really hard at the end. But again, this is all part of his development and his journey to getting not only first team ready, but first team ready at Celtic.
I mean, Dane Murray, I need to check the stats, but I don't know how many 90 minutes he's completed for Celtic's first team. There won't be many overall, so there's a learning curve in that in itself, you know, playing the full game, 93 minutes, whatever it was. And he did tire, and that's where he made his 2 mistakes. He done particularly well to recover from one of them, and I think maybe Colby Donovan and others helped him with the second one. But overall, he's had a good game. You might have caught Brendan Rodgers having a wee word with him after the final whistle. He had the arm round the shoulder and he was having a wee chat with Dane Murray. And I think it's another step in Dane Murray's development. You know, it's an important game for him, and whether he features or not on Tuesday remains to be seen. Probably not, but that was another good game for him to get under his belt. And for Inamura, so a lot of people were saying, well, hold on a minute. How can the manager come out and say during the week that he's not ready, defensively he's not strong enough, and then pitch him in to a game like today? And it's because, and as the manager explained, it's a very different game. I don't know what the final stat is, I'll get it in a second, but Celtic must have had 80% possession, as you would expect against Livy. So Inamura is not going to be under pressure in the way that he would be at Champions League level or even against Kairat Almaty or whatever. And I thought he was pretty tidy. If he had a couple of moments, don't get me wrong, but overall on the ball, I don't think there's any problem with Inamura.
Very decisive on the ball for me, and I'll forgive him his mistake because overall his use of the ball was excellent in my opinion. Maybe not quite the marauding fullback we have in Kieran Tierney or even Greg Taylor when he was here, but certainly very cultured on the ball and would be very intrigued to see him get a wee bit further up the pitch in certain games because I think his technique looks exceptional. Yeah,
I think he's a tidy player. Couple of other changes. So you'd mentioned Luke McCowan comes in, Bernardo, I think that's his first start of the season, Arnie Engels, that makes up your midfield. We know Tony Ralston for the foreseeable is probably going to be the right back, and that's where we're at. Nygren moves further up, and it's Yamada and Yang. What was your take? Let's take it just to the first half in general. I thought the opening 5-10 minutes were good. It was quite open. It looked like we were kind of creating chances and making space. But then it started to slow down a bit, become a wee bit predictable before maybe ramping up towards the end of the half.
Yeah, that's exactly how I seen it, Tino. I would say relatively bright start, got a wee bit turgid, but then started to create clear-cut chances. I think we took a few more risks with the ball and were a bit more incisive with our passing. We found that the success today came down the right and left channels rather than the right and left wings. It was the sort of inside right and inside left positions for old money that we found our joy getting the likes of Nygren and Engels, etc. in the half term.
Okay everyone, we're going to leave it there for now on this one, but if you'd like to watch the full episode, you can do that right now by joining us over on Patreon at patreon.com/Celtic Exchange. As a member, you'll get access to the rest of this episode, plus all of our additional shows, including pre- and post-match shows for every game, a range of extra episodes throughout the week, and loads more from the team here at Celtic Exchange. It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up, and once you're in, you can continue watching the show on your device or directly on the brilliant Patreon app. So that's patreon.com/Celtic Exchange, or just click the link in the show notes. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you over on Patreon shortly.